Spooky Empire. How we feeling? I appreciate that for a Sunday. Are we hanging in there? Are we having a good weekend, everybody? All right. This is actually the final panel of the weekend, and then obviously we have the costume contest. But before we get things underway, we do have a microphone right up front for whatever questions you guys might have. So start thinking about your questions now. But are you guys ready to get this panel underway? It is my absolute privilege to bring to the Spooky Empire stage at this time the one and only Jessica Rothe! What's up?
What's up?
How's it going?
It's great. Isn't her hair amazing?
Oh, thank you. I get like mixed things because sometimes people say it's distracting on stage, but
No way. Give me more. More glam. More all the time.
Thank you so much. Well, okay, so I learned this weekend, and maybe like I'm behind on the times, and this is a little off subject, what a labubu is.
I did not know until maybe 5 days ago what a labubu was.
And now you have one.
Now I have a labubu. For those of you who don't know, it's the new terrifying beanie baby, kind of. But I'm working on a project right now, and one of my collaborators had one, and I was like, what the hell is that thing? And she showed me and was like, do you want one? I said, probably. And she showed up the next day with a box, and so I got to do the whole thing. He's holding a little Coca-Cola because I'm a Diet Coke stan.
Oh, me too. Same.
Yeah.
Coke over Pepsi?
100%.
All right. We got some moves. I feel like this is going to divide the crowd, you know? The Pepsi people, I'm so sorry. But how's the weekend been so far for you?
It's been amazing. Horror fans are the best fans. And Florida's fantastic. It's a little humid for my taste. I grew up in Colorado, so I'm a dry girly. But everyone's been so kind and so excited, and the lineup is so great. It's a really fun con.
Yeah. Well, okay, so speaking of horror, obviously, like, you've worked across multiple genres, from musicals to rom-coms to horror, but what is it about, like, the horror genre that you enjoy compared to other genres?
Well, I think that especially now, we're living in such a golden age of horror, just because I feel like the most interesting and evocative stories are happening in the genre space. And what I really love about horror and Chris Landon's movies, and also what Blumhouse is doing, is that a lot of times it's where not only do you get to go on an amazing roller coaster of a ride, and there are scares and there are things that can bring everyone together, but you can also really say something and explore whether it's a topical issue or something that's more emotionally based. And Chris Landon always talks about it like peppering our popcorn with truths. Like you watch something and you have a great time, but you walk away with something to talk about and something to think about. And with Happy Death Day, at least, that was the biggest thing I thought the first time I read the script. Is I was like, wow, this is such a fun movie, but it's also exploring grief and trauma and growing up and coming of age. And how many movies do you get to kind of do all of those things and have blood and jokes and be a scream queen? So it was like the best of all worlds.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't agree more. Tree is like so layered. You got to experience like so many different ups and downs and waves in it, and all within a horror film. And what was your experience like when you got to read the script for the first time? Was there something that stuck out to you? Or?
Yeah, so I was shooting another movie when I was sent the script to audition, a movie called Forever My Girl that I know some of you have seen. I got a couple of shots out for that very different movie. Could not be more different. And I was just, I'm a huge lover of the OG, Groundhog's Day, and Bill Murray's performance. And I always loved in that movie the amount of like detailed, specific character work that he got to do, and watching him kind of relive the same moments over and over, and the nuance that he brought to it. And so I thought that would be a fun challenge. And not only that, but Tree starts out as such a stone cold bitch, and then transforms into this like badass, empathetic, heart of gold, like killer queen, and she transforms. And so it was a fun challenge of like, how do you create someone who is damaged and hurt at the beginning, but that by the end could become this? Because if she starts as Danielle, like it doesn't matter how many times you die, you're probably gonna stay that way. But Chris and I talked about that a lot, and so I actually, when I auditioned for it, because I was on location, I had my friend. I think it was even before the times of Zoom. Like my friend Skyped me, and we read the script together. So I was like recording on my phone and he was on my computer, and we were trying to set up the timing and sent it in. And I was really lucky that Chris liked my tape, and we did a Zoom, and it was love at first sight.
Yeah. Okay, so you did mention Groundhog Day. If I recall, I'm sure all of you guys can help too. In that movie, they listened to "I Got You, Babe," right?
Yes.
Was that the song? "I Got You"? You guys are amazing. And
They do know everything.
I know.
It's true.
Like, thank you. Is there a song that you would like to hear on repeat if you had to every day?
Oh man, I do get into like.
That's a tough.
Oh, hey, it's your birthday. Which I have a story behind why it was that.
Okay.
You know, the funny thing is, I'm trying to think, because I listen to songs on repeat. Like, I get earworms, especially if something new comes out. Like when, maybe embarrassing, maybe great. When Sabrina Carpenter's Espresso came out last year, I was like, oh, this is the only song I'm listening to forever. But right now I'm on a Stevie Nicks kick. So, you know, it kind of bounces all over the place because, like, I love oldies, but when there is a top 10 banger and it hits, I'm here for it all day.
Man-Child? Are we on the Man-Child song yet? Sabrina's new song?
No, I haven't. I'm behind. I am pop culturally illiterate.
You got your Labubu, so you're like on the way.
I know, but again, because someone else told me what it was, and then I had to like go on the internet and do research. But I get there eventually.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. But we all love Stevie Nicks, so that's a good
Yes.
choice. I feel like that's a good one too. Like again, a lot of layers in music. So
I don't know. Maybe Dreams. Maybe Rihanna. I don't know.
they're all good.
I don't know. They're all good. So one each day. We go through a cycle. One every Monday, one every Tuesday,
All
and
right,
so on.
we'll allow it for you.
Thank you.
Okay, so you said you had a story about the song.
Oh, so I've gotten this question from a couple of you, but about why we use the 50 Cent song in the trailer and it's not in the movie. And that this is a little like how the sausage is made, and a lot of you probably already know this, but you pay royalties depending on how, not only what song you use, but how many seconds of it you use and how many times you use it. And so we got it for the trailer because Blumhouse was so excited about the movie that they were like, we're gonna put a lot of money into press and marketing and all those things. And then Chris was like, great, so we'll put it in the film. And they were like, oh, no. You do not get the money for a 50 Cent song for the movie because that's a much bigger price tag. So then Chris was like, well, fine, I will make my own ringtone. And he apologized to me later. He was like, I made you the most annoying ringtone that I could possibly think of because I wanted it to be annoying. And I was like, fantastic.
Do you know if there was any other like versions of it, or was that?
Because it's Chris, there probably was, because he's an evil, mad genius. But the thing that I love about his brain and his creativity is he throws a bunch of ideas out there, but he always goes with the best one. So whether it's his idea or someone else's idea, he's such a collaborative person that he is always looking for what's best for whatever project it is.
Well, I wanted to ask what it was like working with Chris, like collaboration-wise, and what he was like on set.
He's the best. Like, anyone here who's in the business, if you ever get a chance to work with him, do it. He is so insanely kind and creative and darkly, darkly funny and just a heart of gold human. And he's also one of the most professional, well-prepared, and well-informed directors I've ever worked with. He always raises everyone to their best, and he also, like, I just felt so safe and comfortable, and I was able not only to do my best work, but to do work I never even thought I could do, because I felt so supported and seen by him. And we also, he is my work husband, I'm his work wife, but we just spoke the same language, and you know, it's really magical because you can get along with someone really well and make beautiful work with them, but if you aren't on the same wavelength, there's always gonna be that separation. And me and Chris, like, he and his husband came to my wedding in 2020. I'm having lunch with him on Thursday when I get back. Like, we're just really good friends, and he is, my mom always said when I was making the movie, she was like, even if it had not been the success it was, because that depends on so many different things, and on you guys, but even if it hadn't been, she was like, you got Chris in your life, and that's the most important thing, and it's really true.
Yeah. The crowd's collective. Aww.
But it's true. Like, he's truly one of a kind.
That's
Yeah.
You couldn't ask for anything more, you know,
No.
working with, you know.
Especially because on low budget indie horrors, like you're pulling 12 to 16 hour days, and you're a lot of times doing night shoots and working on very little sleep, and everyone's really stressed out because what if the squib goes off at the wrong time and there's not enough blood, or there's too much blood, or someone gets hurt. And so when you have that collaborative, collective energy, it makes such a huge difference.
What does it mean to you personally, as Jessica, to be a final girl?
It's, I don't have words. Like, I feel so honored to be a part of the final girl. I don't even, like just to be called a final girl. It's such an honor, and it's never something that I ever dreamed would happen. Even when we were making the movie, we were just having a lot of fun, and we were just trying to make the best film that we could, and it was not something that I imagined that I would be put in the same ranking as like Jamie Lee Curtis. And like it still feels like a dream to me, especially because I was the kid growing up who would watch horror movies like behind my hands because I'm a huge chicken. So my horror education came later when I was doing this film, and then also because my husband is a huge horror movie buff, and so he has dragged me kicking and screaming into things that I otherwise maybe would not have seen, but now I love it so much. And yeah, it's one of the greatest honors of my life, and I am so grateful to Tree and all of the things that she taught me, which is very corny, but it's very true.
So what's a film that you had to watch through your fingers? Just out of curiosity.
Oh my God, I mean, The Descent scared the shit out of me. Hereditary, it's too much, man. Like, there are certain ones, I'm trying to remember, my husband watched one recently, there was like some Spanish horror movie, and he was like, you can't watch this. It's too fucked up. Like, it will destroy you, which I appreciate that he knows that now, from my screams in the night.
So obviously, you know, this movie was a monumental success. At what point did you find out that there was going to be a sequel?
So around the time, right before it came out, the audience testing was coming in and people were getting excited, and Chris called me because I don't know how many of you know this, but in the original version of the first one, I die at the very end. Exactly. But so I got lucky that when they did the audience test screenings, people freaked out because they were like, you made us care about her. What is wrong with you? You can't kill her now. Because it was kind of like a little snarky wink at the end. And so we went and we reshot the ending to leave it more open-ended. And Chris called me about a month before the film came out, and he said, listen, if everything goes how I think it's going to go, I have an idea for the second one. Are you in? I was like, 150%. You don't even have to pitch it to me. Like, I will follow you anywhere and everywhere to the ends of the earth. And so then when we had such a wonderful opening weekend, again, thanks to all of you, he called me and we started negotiations, and then less than a year later we were shooting it, which is so cool. He's a very fast writer.
But I also love that he knew, like before it even came out, that it was gonna, you know.
Well, he's such an OG, and he's been in this business a really long time. And even with that, you never know, because the world is so crazy. And even if something is beautiful, like we all have movies that we love so much that were flops at the box office because you don't know where the zeitgeist is and you don't know what's happening in the world at the time. So we got really, really lucky. But yeah, I think he had a little spidey sense about it.
And I'm sure the question that you've been getting all the time is there going to be a third, possibly? Or?
Well, like I said, when I get home, I am having lunch with Chris on Thursday, and one of the main reasons we're having lunch is to discuss the third movie. He has the whole thing mapped out, and Jason Blum is very much behind it. And so right now we're just kind of trying to get all of our ducks in a row so that no one can say no to us. Because if we just write it, then I don't know. We'll see.
That's exciting.
Yes,
oh
it's very exciting.
Cool. Okay. So if it's okay with you, like I did mention, we have a microphone for whatever questions y'all might have. So
ask me your questions.
Yes, anything. Nothing's off limits here this weekend. Do you? Yeah, you can ask there, or if you want to project whatever. Yes.
Okay. Big fan, obviously. You've done so many different roles for so many different genres. I love, like, I've seen everything you've been in, but I just want to know if there was like one in particular that you felt like really personally resonated with you, or one that you felt really drawn to or keep going back to that you like really meant a lot to you for any reason.
Oh man, I mean, Tree is the main one, and I do have to say, and I think she'll like this, my sister was actually kind of my inspiration for parts of Tree, because my sister is really sassy and brassy and awesome, and she is not a bitch like Tree is at the beginning, but she is a freaking marshmallow-centered, armored human. Like, she will be the first one to make a snarky joke about herself or someone else, but then follow it with a big hug and a home-baked treat. Like, she's such a remarkable person, and she's so strong, and I think I had to draw on some of that strength for Tree's core. But yeah, I've just been so lucky. I grew up on movie musicals, so getting to do La La Land and work with Emma and Ryan was so amazing. Getting to do Valley Girl, and I'm such a like diehard lover of 80s ballads, especially, that I was like, sign me up. Romeo and Juliet in the 80s, give me more. Where's Nicolas Cage? I need his Batman chest hair. But yeah, and then I've gotten to do smaller indies like Tater Tot and Patton, which we shot in South Dakota, and the director of that is now one of my dear friends. We're working on writing another movie together right now, because we shot for 14 days in the middle of nowhere on a ranch, and we just had the most magical time, because it was a crew of like 11 people, and we were just shooting with natural daylight, and there was something really special about it. So I have so many favorites. I hope more favorites are to come. That's the wonderful mystery of this business.
So you mentioned writing. Is that another part of the industry that you're...
I am. I have a couple projects in development right now. One is with my friend Andrew, who will direct. It's called The Offering, that we're working on right now. And we're kind of going through a script. I wrote a movie called Ride that I'm working on with Roy Lee and Steven Schneider right now. That's the first movie I've written completely by myself. And then I have a TV show that I'm developing with HBO Max that's called Your Second Wife, that's based on this amazing short story about a woman who dresses up as men's dead wives to go on one last date with them. And so I know, I read this story and I was like, I need to have this to be mine. And so I bought it, and we've been working on it for 3 years now. But Max just bought it, and we have this amazing showrunner. Her name is Jamie. She's working on Your Friends and Neighbors right now. Like, Adele Lim from Crazy Rich Asians is producing on it and is going to direct the pilot episode. And so we found this like amazing crew of badass ladies that are working on this with us. But it's been fun. It's fun seeing the other side of things. So much respect for writers, so much respect for producers. It takes so long to get anything made, and so it's also good for me to see that other side, because I am a squishy actor and I take everything personally, and I'm like, but why? Why not now? And now I'm like, oh, because it's impossible, because doing anything is so impossible. So I think it's not only giving me a little more control and flexing a different creative muscle, but it also is giving me a just another view of things and helping keep my anxieties at bay.
Okay, so you mentioned La La Land, which
Yes.
of course is also iconic. But what about like any chance to see you in like a musical slasher?
Oh my God, that would be amazing. I mean, if anyone has a script out there, let me know. I
Once first rights to it, yeah.
Yeah, of course. That would be so much fun, because the thing I love about musicals is the reason people break out in a song, in my opinion, is because words just won't do enough. And so what better high, like, energy arena for that than a slasher, where it's like, oh, I have to sing because I am so scared right now, or I must sing because you just stabbed me in the neck, so I have to do my dying ballad. And I would love to see some killer do like some crazy tap dance shit. Like that would be cool.
A tap dancing killer?
I mean, come on, guys.
I always think about the idea too of like if, let's just say like Halloween was ever made into a musical, like, and Michael Myers just doesn't sing it, you know? Or, like, what does he do?
Maybe
Or,
he's
like,
the silent, doesn't like soft shoe. No, but I mean, that's, like, I guess we have Sweeney Todd and we have Little Shop, which are like horror adjacent, which I love.
And Rocky Horror.
And Rocky Horror, thank you. Of course, Rocky Horror. So those, I feel like, also have the fun in the...
I think there's an Evil Dead musical, and I know there's a Toxic Crusader one.
Oh, the musical! I did not know.
Oh my
I'm gonna have to check it out.
Human Centipede.
What? Human Centipede, the musical? Oh no. Oh no.
What's the 11 o'clock number for that? I don't really
I know.
Okay. Okay. How do we get this back on track? Cool. Anyone else have any other questions?
Oh.
Yeah.
Hi again.
Hi.
So, I know one of them you'll say because you and Chris storyboarded it. It was your idea to do it as one of the deaths. I think you know which one I'm talking about. In part 2.
Oh yeah.
So you use that one, but then explain another one that you like that was elaborate that you just thought about. I had to die this way. So.
Oh man. I mean, I'll also tell you about one that we really wanted to do that we didn't get to do because it was too expensive. Part 3. So maybe I shouldn't. I'll tell you guys because you're here. He really wanted to show me in a car and have the car be shaking, and I'm like jamming out to some dope music, and then it zooms out and Stephen X, and it zooms out, and I'm in one of those like they're at the junkyard compacting it, and so you just see the window go, and there's just blood everywhere, which I thought would be awesome. The dunk tank one. So the one where I'm flipping the camera off and flying through the air, the way that we did that is there was they built like a dunk tank top, and I would lay on top of it in front of a green screen and flex every muscle in my body, because if I didn't, then I would just jellyfish down, and then they would drop me, and I would have to, it all happened in the blink of an eye, but like pretend I was smiling and looking at a camera and flipping it off, so that when they slowed it down, that's how we got the one where I jump out of the airplane and then fall in front of Carter and Danielle and spray blood on them. And then I think the other one that I really loved, there were so many. I thought that the one jumping into the mulch machine was really fun and funny. And also because my amazing stunt double, Kelly, who does my stunts for me in both films, the leap that she did to go into there was just so epic. She used to work for Cirque du Soleil, and so she was like the most creative, wonderful, bendy human I've ever met. But she also taught me how to do a lot of the things safely, which is something that a really good stunt crew does, is they not only make you look great, but they show you how to do as much of it as you can on your own and keep you safe.
Great question.
Yes.
So, I was curious, you mentioned earlier that your character in Happy Death Day, kind of starts as the stone cold bitch.
Yeah.
Do you think, if not for the Groundhog Day time travel thing, would she ever have become a better person, or was that the only way for her to kind of actualize into a better person?
That is such a good question. I feel like without the Groundhog Day of it all, she would have had a really, really horrible midlife crisis. Like, I think that, like, I think that she was lucky that she was confronted with some of her choices and with the way that she was treating people and the hurt that she was causing early in her life, so that she could reverse it. Because I do think at her core, Tree is a good person and wants to do good. She's just very hurt, and as we all know, hurt people hurt people. But yeah, I think that there is definitely a version of her that would have just gone through college, getting drunk at frat parties and brushing people off and not forming real connections, and then she would have woken up one day in her 40s with no one but her cat who loved her and been like, oh no, I need help. So I think at the end of the day, she's very grateful for Babyface. even though it kind of was scary and hard. Yeah. Any other questions? Yeah.
I have a question. Okay, so you know on the second one, when you go into like the parallel universe and then like so Carter's dating Danielle or whatever.
Yes.
So here's a question. Would you, if Carter hadn't ended up dying in that universe, would you have still gone back? Because, I mean, like, you got your mom, and I don't know. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. I mean, so Chris and I talked about that a lot with that movie, and I think the thing that Tree realizes is we are who we are because of the things that happen in our lives, and that even though you may want to go back and change things, and this is a huge thing for me because I'm a huge past picker. Like when I'm in a bad place, I'll go into the past and like pick apart all of my decisions and be like, why did you do that? If only this had been different. And it's a huge waste of energy, but it's my way of feeling in control of things that are out of my control. And I think that Tree in that moment was trying to have control over a situation she didn't have control over. But by the end, she really realized, like, of course I wish I could live here and be with my mom, but it's not real. It's not, it isn't my life to live, and all of the things that I learned and all of the beautiful parts of myself that my mom passed on to me wouldn't exist in this world. And I have to be brave, and I have to take the step forward, and even though it's hard and even though it's painful, embrace the reality of my situation. And luckily for her, that also included Carter, because, you know, love and stuff. But I do really think that we were really trying to explore the idea of processing grief and processing loss, and how when you do that and you're able to accept it, you can actually move on to a better place in your life.
She can't go back on what you said, that huge speech to Danielle about, oh, I'm gonna have his babies and everything. He's like the best thing ever to me.
I know, right?
The other thing I wanted to know, like, was there a tree in another dimension?
That was a funny thing because I was fighting really hard for there to be like 4 of me running around, because I was like, come on, Chris, Fee gets to do it. I want there to be like 4 trees. But we decided that because, I'm just gonna try to remember the science and the math here, almost that he explains it with the paper napkin, folding it up and stabbing the pen through, that I'm like weirdly the one, I'm the one constant. And so that because I got sucked back, even though there are multiples of everybody else, like I'm the one that's going through. But I don't know, maybe in the 3rd one there can be like 17. Yeah, we switched places pretty much. So I also had to give like OG in that timeline Tree back her mom, because that would be pretty traumatizing and messed up.
More questions? Yeah, go ahead.
I actually, like, ironically love that this is like a college movie where we don't know anybody's major.
Yes.
What do you think everybody's major is?
Well, I think that Tree like came in undecided because she doesn't care. I think that she's probably actually maybe super brilliant in like science and math, but she doesn't want to admit that she is because it's dorky and like I'm just gonna skate through. But I think that secretly maybe she wanted to be like a marine biologist because that's kind of fun. Carter and Fee, they're all totally like coding tech nerd boys, but I do think that Fee definitely does some like cosplay. I think he has a big online persona. Carter, I think maybe is really into gardening also. I don't know. Why not? Let's just say he loves trees. And oh, that's very cute. Well done. Well done. My brain was not quick enough to catch up on that the first time. And then Danielle, I think that Danielle's like a fashion major, you know, or something. Like she wants to go into PR or politics. She just wants to control everybody around her.
Or HR.
That's amazing.
Or HR, I think. That's totally it. I'll ask Rachel next time I see her. I'll be like, what do you think Danielle's major was? She's like, being hot.
That's a major.
Yeah.
I think I see your hand up. Yeah. Yes, you.
So obviously my first introduction to you, and I think a lot of us, was your role at La La Land as
Yeah.
a roommate. So from going from a supporting role like that to something like playing the lead in something like Happy Death Day and some of the other movies you've done, what was the audition and casting process for you? Like similarities and differences between going for something that was more supporting to something that was obviously the lead of a very successful movie?
I mean, I actually had more auditions for La La Land than I did for Happy Death Day because I think when you're building an ensemble, especially in a musical, you need to make sure all the pieces fit really well together. So I went to an audition, just an acting audition initially, and Damien Chazelle was there, and our amazing casting director, and we did the scene a couple times, and then I went to another acting audition and a dance callback, and Mandy Moore was there, like putting us all through our paces. And in the middle of the audition, Emma Stone came in and just like sat there and watched us all, and we were all like, oh my freaking God, what is happening? I think that the focus is just in a different place, and I also felt really aware that, especially in La La Land, I was like, I want to create as dimensional and fun and wild of character as I can, but I'm also here to support Emma's story. Like, that is my job in this movie, is to help lift her up and highlight her and carry along her and Ryan's romance, or be conflict in that. And so that was really fun, but something like Tree is a totally different animal to tackle because you are the engine behind the movie a little more. And so a lot of times it's fun because you get more meaty material, but then it's also that thing of like, ooh, I really want this. Like, I've put a lot of time into it. I've put hours into preparing this. I've taped it. I've thought about it. I've thought about what my emotional arc would be. I've picked everything apart. And so it's such a joy to work on those kinds of auditions, but it can also be really hard because a lot of times you don't get those roles. But I also think that, like, I learn a lot about myself as an artist and an actor, even when I'm doing those things, if I don't get it. And so each one is just a drop in the bucket. And then hopefully one day the bucket overflows all of my horrible metaphors.
I love it. All right, anyone else have questions? Sorry, we can't really see them all here. Any other questions? Cool. So we do have our social media person in the corner. So do you want to give a shout out?
Yeah, so I was just thinking, I know a lot of you know Rob was supposed to be here today and he had to step out for some personal stuff. So we were thinking that maybe we could all like count to 3 and say we love you, Rob, and smile and wave, and then they can send him a little video because we love you, Rob. And I know everyone wishes he was here, and so just send him some good vibes. But yeah. Should we count down and then?
So if we can use this microphone again.
Oh, yes.
This is a production, guys. All right, guys.
Okay.
Sorry.
Everybody,
I'll
let's
spin here and then do that.
prepare. Okay.
Are you ready?
Ready when you guys are.
Okay. Rob, we miss you so much, and we all just wanted to say 1, 2, 3.
All right, guys, we killed that. That was great.
Adorable.
You guys are the best. Thank you so
One
much.
take. You're amazing. Thank you so much. And we were talking backstage, and you did say you are going back to your booth after. So
Yes, I am. I will be there until 5, and then I have to go catch a plane. So come say hi. Thank you all so much for being here. You have made my weekend just really special. And good luck with that lunch next week. Okay. Bye.